or do you feel like there was an acceptable trade-off for you to be able to kind of move into another level?
Well, it's acceptable as long as I can now get on with my life, because I really feel over the last 10 years I haven't been the most productive member of society, because I've been kept so busy in this mental world where it was impossible to really, have a job or anything like that. So I'm hoping that things are on the mend in that way. And I'm really looking to get more into the healing aspect, because at this time there's so much of this stuff going on and people are unraveling, becoming more and more psychic every day, and they're scared and they may not even know it because your mind picks up stuff that your brain doesn't necessarily pick up on a day-to-day basis. And it's there's trauma out there that you're not realizing, and it's weighing on people. So like guys focusing on etheric hygiene for themselves and for other people are probably going to be kept fairly busy over the next number of years, I think, doing
etheric hygiene. An etheric hygienist. Well, is there a license for that, or good? There shouldn't be, but wow, that's
$29.95. I'll send you a patch.
There you go. That's kind of interesting stuff. On a personal level, you've kind of probably been isolated a lot with this. Did you have like any support along the way? Were you able to ever talk about this, or did you just kind of live with this in isolation?
No, I tried like the whole psychiatric route early on, and it was basically...
No, I meant interacting with actual humans, not doctors.
A few healers throughout that haven't been able to do anything for me, really. And then meeting Chris in my own city blew my mind, because... he is the etheric hygienist supreme right now in my life. So I'm a happy cat just knowing the guy, because he dragged me out of this and definitely helped me get grounded. And speaking of grounding, they had actually unhooked my grounding cable, which he helped me rehook, and definitely got me back down to earth. So yeah.
Explain a little bit about that. And Chris, feel free to jump in here if you want to add to this. Exactly, the whole grounding process and how that works.
Yeah, the grounding process, like everybody talks about being grounded. Okay, are you grounded? Well, of course you are. Your feet are on the ground. But what we're talking about is an energetic ground, and there's a two-part system to that. Number one is it's the zero chakra, which is a chakra located 1 foot below your feet. That is a chakra that helps to ground you. Now, there's also another connection called the vivaxis, and it's an energetic connection that starts at the root chakra, and it goes through the zero chakra, and it grounds you to the earth. So that is something that is specifically needed if you're a person who does astral traveling, because if you're not grounded, you're going off into this astral world. You may not get back. You may just not come back at all, for lack of a better term. But being grounded on an energy level is extremely important. Now, there's also another ground that I work with, and that's our ground to the universe. Okay, or to the creator, or to heaven, whatever you want to call it, and that is an area in the hypothalamus in our brain called the well of souls. Uh-huh. That is your connection to the higher realms of consciousness. So you can be grounded up and down. So your poles are basically grounded. So that is a very important aspect that I work on with everybody, is to make sure that your grounding points are there.
Excellent. That's a great explanation. Boy, there's a lot of data in all of that I've got to wrap my head around. Because I never thought about it on that level. I was thinking, well, I'm pretty grounded. I go out in earth almost every day just to get in contact with terra firma. But it's bigger than that.
It is much bigger than that, and it's those specific connections are the important ones. Now, if there is a demonic figure that is trying to get at you, of course, it's going to try and get at you through your ground. So that ground could be attached to a different dimension. It could be plugged into a different energy matrix, different energy grid, where you think you're grounded in the right spot, but you're really not. And with the work that I'm doing, I'm able to find out exactly where it's plugged into, what it's siphoning from. Is it plugged into a black hole and siphoning all your energy? So there's a lot of things to take into consideration. Not just are you grounded, but where are you grounded to? Are you grounded to the right place? Are you grounded in the right dimension? Whatever. A lot of things to consider.
when you were talking earlier about going astral, there are times, and I'm very aware of my sleep states. I do very specific types of meditation and practices that, things I've learned, things I've picked up, things I intuitively do. But I've noticed over the last few years that it's more pronounced than in the morning. I'm having a very difficult time sometimes with reentry.
Okay, it's possibly that you need to reground yourself, and we could easily find that out very quickly if you're properly grounded. Are you traveling in a different body than your astral body? There's so many things to consider, but we could easily figure that out. Not a problem.
One of the best ways I found to get back in is just wiggle your fingers and your toes, and you'll wake up back in your body in about 3 seconds.
I have that sensation. The other thing is that sometimes I'm not sure I want to come back. I wake up sometimes and I'm like actually bummed. That sounds horrible. I'm not suicidal. I don't want to die or leave this body. It's just that I'm aware that wherever I've been is someplace very incredible. It's very difficult to come back into 3D.
Absolutely. It's easier out there than it is here. But we're still in school.
It is.
We haven't gotten our graduation papers yet, so.
That is an interesting analogy, and it's one that I hear a lot, and I hear it especially from people that have had contact experiences, that they're aware of the fact that we are basically in some sort of accelerated course that's teaching us something, that this is a hard world to live in.
It is.
Well, we're here for one big reason, and that is to learn things. And we're reincarnated all the time because we need to get it right. We need to clear up our karmic debt. A lot of different things come into play as to exactly the whole reason why our silly little humans are here on this stinking little planet. What's the whole significance of it? And there's so many different scenarios that fly, but not one of them is definitely to relearn a lesson or to get it right.
I have the sense, and since we kind of treaded over into this subject, I've had the sense for some time that this cycle that we're in is, and don't ask me where I got this, the word penultimate came up, which means next to last. Now, I have a sense about what that means, but maybe you have nothing, or maybe you can help me understand this. I have the sense that there's a finality to the cycle that we're in right now, both in terms of the planet, galactically, and in terms of even certain soul groups.
That is something I haven't really come across as yet. There's so many different scenarios that do fly around about the whole thing. We watched a video, Whisper and I and Hayden, is called "The Lie NASA Told." And
which one?
Which one?
No, I have not seen this one yet.
No, it really makes you think again. I mean, as energy people like us, we think we got a good handle on things, and we know a lot more than what a lot of other people might know. But then you watch this video, and it sure puts things way out of proportion as to where you think you are and what the universe is all about and what is really going on. So if you want to spin your head around 40 or 50 times and watch this video, The Lie NASA Told on YouTube is pretty incredible.
I will have to look that up.
The Soho Space Wars from basically 2004 or 2007, and then I think it also shows stuff actually happening April of this year. About different gates and fights for different gates with our own solar system.
Yeah, and some of that is information that's kind of been leaking out for a number of years. The idea of the space wars, which actually I think are occurring almost within our own ionosphere at times, is a reason that information's been leaking out slowly. But there's somebody out on the West Coast, and I wish I could remember the guy's name now. I got the information, who was actually able to photograph this using some pretty extraordinary equipment.
Yeah, a lot of those photographs are in that video, actually.
Okay. This is probably the same people that I was in contact with a few years ago. And that's pretty real. I mean, look, if you still disbelieve that we're not in some kind of war zone here, that certainly brings it all right home.
Absolutely. Like I said about the war on Saturn. Okay, how do I know there's a war on Saturn? Okay, my guides start telling me, giving me this information. I start working on it within people and removing it, and all of a sudden things change within their physicality, and their pain goes away. So that makes you believe, okay, there's got to be something to it. There is some kind of etheric war going on, and we're somehow linked and connected to it in one way, shape, or form. So anything is possible. Give me a break. Anything at all is possible when you're thinking about stuff going on in the universe. So when you start seeing photographs and video of things happening on the sun at different levels with different filters that they use, well, then it sure makes you open your eyes a bit wider and look in a different direction as to really what is going on within our own dimension.
Well, it's even the sun. It's not what we think it is it? It's we have it as this hot gaseous ball, but there's actually something much more intricate about the sun itself, as being the sun that we see, not even going into the whole secret sun, hidden sun, all the other aspects, the dimensional aspects of the galactics.
Yeah, within this video, there's a NASA scientist who's sitting in his car, and he doesn't want anybody to see that he's being interviewed, and he's talking that if you're not on the planet, you can't see the sun. There is no sun. They talk about the sun being hollow. What I believe the sun is actually a big chakra, a big portal for multidimensional travel.
Yes, yeah, and that's actually, I don't know if you've ever seen the work, there's a lot of YouTube videos out there of electromagnetic vehicles. They're like triangular vehicles that have been spotted. There's a NASA scientist, Dr. Norman Bergrand, who years ago, this guy's very aged now, but wrote a book about Saturn and these electromechanical vehicles that were being spotted in the rings. Now, it's interesting, you just triggered that whole thing with Saturn, and here we are, we're back at this again, so I guess this needs to just be aired. There's something very trippy going on there.
There certainly is, and like I said, you look at the wars in the Middle East, you look at all that turmoil, and that as above, so below comes into play right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we know the pyramids have got to be not just the pyramids in Egypt, but the ancient pyramids in South America. We know about grids, and we know about ley lines on the Earth, which all seem to have some sort of mapping system connected to the galaxy itself.
It exactly is, and the universe, that everything is all connected in its own way. From all the cells within our body that connect us and build us to what we are, to everything around us, is we're all connected in one way, shape, or form. Ashiana Dean calls it a Partiki grid, with all these different geometrical forms all piecing together to create the entire universe. So the consciousness is actually one, but separate in its own little way. So that's another aspect, another way to look at it.
Wow, we've certainly managed to rotate the conversation in some pretty interesting places. I will say that, guys. Hayden, is there anything else do you want to share about? I'm sorry, Hayden, not Hayden. Whisper. Hayden's sitting in the background. He's the cigar chomping agent guy, but. Whisper, is there anything else you'd like to touch on in terms of your own experiences, or expand a little bit on the work that you're doing now?
Well, basically with the work I'm doing now is healing work, and basically I've just been doing mine for free. I've been setting up shop sort of in like our little Times Square, and just doing free energy healings for anyone who walks up. And using a bunch of similar tools to Chris there. Tons and tons of different entity attachments seem to be happening with people, and a lot of it's just etheric cleanup, and you can see their mood change right in front of you once you start doing it. And that's with what I've been through, this unraveling process, or becoming more psychic or more aware, or whatever you want to call it, has been scary as hell. And I